Chapter 30 of The Return of Dr. Fu-Manchu. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Elaine Tweddle. The Return of Dr. Fu-Manchu by Sax Rohmer. Chapter 30. The Call of the East. I seemed to haul myself back out of the pit of unconsciousness by the aid of two little hands which clasped my own. I uttered a sigh that was almost a sob, and opened my eyes. I was sitting in the big red leathern armchair in my own study, and a lovely but truly bizarre figure in a harem dress was kneeling on the carpet at my feet, so that my first sight of the world was the sweetest sight that the world had to offer me, the dark eyes of Karamaneh, with tears trembling like jewels upon her lashes. I looked no further than that, heeded not if there were others in the room beside we two, but, gripping the jewel-laden fingers in what must have been a cruel clasp, I searched the depths of the glorious eyes in ever-growing wonder. What change had taken place in those limpid, mysterious pools? Why was a wild madness growing up within me like a flame? Why was the old longing returned 10,000-fold to snatch that pliant, exquisite shape to my breast? No word was spoken, but the spoken words of 1,000 ages could not have expressed one tithe of what was held in that silent communion. A hand was laid hesitatingly on my shoulder. I tore my gaze away from the lovely face so near to mine, and glanced up. Aziz stood at the back of my chair. "God is all-merciful," he said. "My sister is restored to us" (I loved him for the plural), "and she remembers." Those few words were enough. I understood now that this lovely girl, who half knelt, half lay at my feet, was not the evil, perverted creature of Fu-Manchu whom we had gone out to arrest with the other vile servants of the Chinese doctor, but was the old beloved companion of 2 years ago, the Karamaneh for whom I had sought long and wearily in Egypt, who had been swallowed up and lost to me in that land of mystery. The loss of memory which Fu-Manchu had artificially induced was subject to the same inexplicable laws which ordinarily rule in cases of amnesia. The shock of her brave action that night had begun to effect a cure; the sight of Aziz had completed it. Inspector Weymouth was standing by the writing table. My mind cleared rapidly now, and standing up, but without releasing the girl's hands, so that I drew her up beside me, I said: "Weymouth, where is—" "He's waiting to see you, Doctor," replied the inspector. A pang, almost physical, struck at my heart. "Poor dear old Smith!" I cried, with a break in my voice. Dr. Gray, a neighboring practitioner, appeared in the doorway at the moment that I spoke the words. "It's all right, Petrie," he said reassuringly. "I think we took it in time. I have thoroughly cauterized the wounds, and granted that no complication sets in, he'll be on his feet again in a week or two." I suppose I was in a condition closely bordering upon the hysterical. At any rate, my behavior was extraordinary. I raised both my hands above my head. "Thank God!" I cried at the top of my voice. "Thank God! Thank God!" "Thank Him indeed," responded the musical voice of Aziz. He spoke with all the passionate devoutness of the true Moslem. Everything, even Karamaneh, was forgotten, and I started for the door as though my life depended upon my speed. With one foot upon the landing, I turned, looked back, and met the glance of Inspector Weymouth. "What have you done with the body?" I asked. "We haven't been able to get to it. That end of the vault collapsed 2 minutes after we hauled you out." As I write now of those strange days, already they seem remote and unreal, but where other and more dreadful memories already are grown misty, the memory of that evening in my rooms remains clear-cut and intimate. It marked a crisis in my life. During the days that immediately followed, while Smith was slowly recovering from his hurts, I made my plans deliberately. I prepared to cut myself off from old associations, prepared to exile myself, gladly, how gladly I cannot hope to express in mere, cold words. That my friend approved of my projects I cannot truthfully state, but his disapproval at least was not openly expressed. To Karamaneh I said nothing of my plans, but her complete reliance in my powers to protect her now from all harm was at once pathetic and exquisite. Since always I have sought in these chronicles to confine myself to the facts directly relating to the malignant activity of Dr. Fu Manchu, I shall abstain from burdening you with details of my private affairs. As an instrument of the Chinese doctor, it has sometimes been my duty to write of the beautiful Eastern girl. I cannot suppose that my readers have any further curiosity respecting her from the moment that fate freed her from that awful servitude. Therefore, when I shall have dealt with the episodes which marked our voyage to Egypt (I had opened negotiations in regard to a practice in Cairo), I may honorably lay down my pen. These episodes opened, dramatically, upon the second night of the voyage from Marseilles. End of Chapter 30. Recording by Elaine Tweddle. Stirling, Ontario.